The world outside is demanding your performance. It asks for your metrics, your output, and your optimized self. But in here, under the sound of the rain, nothing is required of you. You do not need to earn your seat at this table. Welcome to the sanctuary. Let's breathe. Tell me if this feels familiar. You finally have a moment to yourself, a spare hour on a Sunday afternoon, or the quiet stretch before sleep, and instead of relief, you feel a sudden, sharp spike of anxiety. Your chest tightens. Your hand instinctively reaches for your phone, scrolling for information, for connection, for something to do. You feel a phantom pressure, a whisper in the back of your mind suggesting that by doing nothing, you are failing, you are falling behind. This is not a character flaw. This is the physiological residue of a culture that has taught you to view your own life as a business to be managed rather than a mystery to be lived. We call this the hustle culture hangover. For years, your nervous system has been conditioned to equate stillness with danger. In our modern economy, time is money. Therefore, to waste time is to commit a kind of secular sin. When you stop moving, your amygdala, the ancient alarm system of your brain, interprets the lack of productivity as a threat to your survival. You are flooded with cortisol not because you are in danger, but because you are inefficient. You have been trained to believe that every hour must be monetized. Every hobby must become a side hustle, and every moment of rest must be justified by how much harder it will allow you to work tomorrow. You have become an industrialist of your own soul, but deep down, beneath the frenetic energy and the exhaustion, you know this is not how you were meant to exist. You know that you are not a machine to be optimized. You are a garden, and gardens do not hustle, they abide. Here is where we pivot from the pressure of the world to the design of your biology. Neuroscience offers us a fascinating counter-narrative to the cult of productivity. For decades, scientists believed that the brain went dormant when it wasn't focused on a specific task. They assumed that when you were spacing out or staring out the window, your neural activity flatlined, but they were wrong. When you stop focusing on a task list, when you enter that state of wasting time, a specific network in your brain ignites. It is called the default mode network, DMN. This is the neurological seat of your creativity, your empathy, and your sense of self. It is in this idling state that your brain consolidates memories, makes unexpected connections, and processes complex emotions. Biologically speaking, you were designed to loiter. Without these periods of aimless mental wandering, your brain loses its plasticity. It becomes rigid, reactive, and unable to imagine a future different from the present. The efficiency that culture demands of you is actually stripping your gears. This biological reality finds its echo in the deepest roots of theology. If we look at the narrative of Scripture, we are confronted with a God who is shockingly inefficient. Consider the creation story. A utilitarian God, a God obsessed with ROI, would have created a strictly functional world, gray nutrient paste for food, a flat earth for easy travel, and a uniform climate for maximum agricultural yield. But that is not what we see. We see a God who spent billions of years carving canyons that no human eyes would see for eons. We see a God who painted the stripes on a zebra and the iridescence on a beetle's wing. When God finished his work, he did not look at the cosmos and say, "This is efficient." He looked at it and said, "This is good." There is a profound theological difference between utility and goodness. Utility asks, "What is this for? What does it produce?" Goodness asks, "Does this delight?" The God of the Bible is an artist, not a manager. He is the original waster of time. If we define waste as anything that does not turn a profit, think of the story in the Gospels where a woman breaks an alabaster jar of expensive perfume to anoint Jesus. The disciples, the pragmatic, efficient voices in the room, were outraged. They immediately calculated the financial loss. Why this waste? They asked. This could have been sold and the money given to the poor. They were making a valid economic argument. They were optimizing the situation. But Jesus rebuked them. He defended the waste. He recognized that what she did was an act of pure, unadulterated love. And love is never efficient. Love is extravagant. Love lingers. Love wastes time. The problem is that we have applied the logic of the factory to the rhythm of the soul. We try to hack our prayer lives, We try to optimize our Sabbaths. We treat God like a vending machine, input prayer, output blessing. But you cannot have a relationship with a loved one based on efficiency. You cannot optimize a conversation with a friend, or a walk with a spouse, or a moment of awe before a sunset. To rush these things is to ruin them. Your anxiety, then, is often just your soul rebelling against the tyranny of utility. Your spirit knows that you were made for wasting time with God, for abiding in Him, not to get something, but simply to be with Him. As the Westminster Catechism states, the chief end of man is not to be productive, but to glorify God and enjoy Him forever. Enjoyment requires a lack of hurry. You cannot enjoy what you are trying to speed through. To reclaim your rest, you must be brave enough to be useless in the eyes of the world, so that you can be useful in the kingdom of heaven. So, how do we dismantle the factory in our heads? We cannot simply think our way out of this, because the addiction to productivity is housed in the body. We must behave our way into a new way of believing. We need a liturgy of loitering. We must practice what I call holy uselessness. This is not about being lazy. Laziness is an avoidance of work. Holy uselessness is a deliberate rebellion against the idol of efficiency. It is the spiritual discipline of engaging in activities that have absolutely no measurable outcome, no financial value, and no potential for social media validation. Start with the practice of non-transactional creation. Find something to do with your hands that you are terrible at. Paint poorly. Write a poem that doesn't rhyme. Whittle a stick into a smaller stick. The goal is to break the neural pathway that says, if I do X, I must get Y in return. When you create something solely for the joy of the process, with no intention of showing it to anyone, you are teaching your nervous system the feeling of grace. You are learning that your existence does not need to be justified by a product. Next, reclaim the in-between moments. The modern world has eliminated friction. We fill the elevator ride, the grocery line, and the red light with digital noise. We refuse to be bored, but boredom is the threshold of the spirit. For the next week, try this small rebellion. When you are waiting, just wait. Do not reach for the phone. Do not listen to a podcast to optimize your commute. Let your mind float. Watch the way the light hits the pavement. Listen to the hum of the refrigerator. In these moments of uncurated silence, you will feel the itch of the withdrawal. You will feel the urge to be useful. Acknowledge it. Say to yourself, I am not a machine. I am a child of God, and I am allowed to just be. Finally, we must understand that this wasting of time is the only way to truly accept the gospel. If you believe your worth is tied to your usefulness, you will always view God as a boss to be pleased rather than a father to be enjoyed. You will view salvation as a wage you earn, rather than a gift you receive. To waste time with God, to sit in silence with no agenda, no prayer list, and no request, is the ultimate act of faith. It declares that He is enough. It declares that you are enough, not because of what you did today, but because of who you are. Let us practice the art of doing nothing, so that we may finally remember who does everything for us. Benediction. And now, as you return to a world that will demand your speed, may you carry the secret of the sanctuary with you. May you have the courage to be inefficient. May you find the grace to leave things unfinished. And may you know, deep in the marrow of your bones, that the God of the universe delights in you even when you are doing absolutely nothing at all. You are allowed to go slow. Peace be with you.